What's happening, everybody? I'm Steve, and welcome back to Junkdrummer TV, where I give my initial reactions, my hot takes, my analysis on the drummers of today and yesterday, and maybe tomorrow if I stick around that long. I'm a professional drum teacher and a gigging musician, and I have been for the last 20 years. So video number 4 from the quarantine, and today's episode goes out to my Gen X brothers and sisters. That's right, you've all seen the memes, you've all read the news articles. We were basically raised under quarantine. We were all latchkey kids. We all came home to an empty house because our parents worked. We microwaved food. We watched MTV. We played some video games. We didn't have the internet, and we most certainly did not have social media. Things like existential dread, worrying about the future, worrying about past mistakes biting us in the ass, these are things that Gen Xers eat for breakfast. And this is our time to shine, son. So what better way to celebrate my Gen X brothers and sisters than to check out the seminal 90s band Smashing Pumpkins with the great, the very great Jimmy Chamberlin. Jimmy Chamberlin falls right into that long history of jazz drummers who have decided to stop swinging and make rock and roll music. Drummers like Ginger Baker, Mitch Mitchell, John Densmore of The Doors, Steve Smith from Journey. These were all cats that grew up and studied jazz music, but then whatever opportunity arose, they decided to take those elevated skills and apply them to rock drumming. And the results are wonderful. Now, if you've read that one Modern Drummer magazine article where they actually interview Billy Corgan, he said that he found Jimmy Chamberlin in a jazz club in Chicago and taught him how to play rock music. If you're a Smashing Pumpkins fan, you just know that Billy just sometimes says things and you just kind of have to overlook them. But he owns his own wrestling promotion, so he's cool with me. So before we get into it, please, everyone, give me a like, comment, and share. Give me a double tap on the subscription and the notification bell. Please check out my Patreon. Please check out my new merch table. I keep saying that. My merch page. And let's get into Jimmy Chamberlin of Smashing Pumpkins playing I Am One. This episode goes out to my good buddy Alicia. She's a fellow music teacher. This is her favorite drummer. Every time you say that Jimmy is your favorite drummer, I always think that you're cheating on Danny Carey. This is an old video because Billy has hair. This is like an accidental drum cam because drum cams weren't a thing in the 90s. This has to be, you know what, Gish-era? Siamese Dream? Because I think he shaved his, I think he went bald for Melancholy. This is Jimmy Chamberlin 101. Let's talk about that groove right there. The 90s were the time of tom-oriented grooves. I always call them jungle grooves. That's not a good way to put it, but that's how I say them. Stephen Percy from Jane's Addiction did it. Matt Chamberlain did it. It was a good decade for tom grooves. What he's doing right there is very simple but super effective. He's running 16th notes. The bass drum part, I can't remember. I didn't get it. But what he's doing right there is he's just going 1, 2, 5, that, that, riding that tom and bringing the 2 and the 1, 2, down on the snare drum. It's classic Jimmy Chamberlin. His tom setup is a little Billy Cobham, because Billy Cobham sometimes had toms out of order. Is this the very first drum cam? Okay, as a drum teacher, I do have to address this. Now, I'm going to preface this with this. Just because I'm going to criticize his technique has nothing to do with Jimmy Chamberlin not being a good drummer. The reason why I'm going to point this out is because if you are watching this, you're more than likely not Jimmy Chamberlin, and you can't get by with this shit. He is playing with the, and he always did this with a very classic, like, pinky out thing right here. I only point that out because for those of us mere mortals, we need all the help we can get, and that help sometimes is in the form of good technique. Brother Jimmy is playing, you know, this tea time. Got that pinky out there. For the rest of you, don't do that. And it's a very simple thing. I say this all the time in lessons. Which one gives you more power, control, flexibility, coordination? 5 muscles on the stick, 4, 3, or 2, right? Now, Jimmy Chamberlin, doesn't matter. He can break the rules because he's Jimmy Chamberlin. But you probably shouldn't. There's that groove again. And just using that left hand to tag that hi-hat and that splash cymbal. It's just a little spice in an otherwise pretty simple groove, but it's so effective. Effective drum parts don't have to have polyrhythms and 30-second notes in them. Unless you're Danny Carey. You know, he, unlike those other jazz drummers that I talked about earlier, he doesn't really show a lot of his jazz playing in his rock playing. You know, John Densmore did a lot. Ginger Baker obviously did. Steve Smith from Journey didn't either. Just good 90s drumming. Pop, pop, pop. We'll put those little triplet flams in the middle of there. That might be some train drumming in there. That I'd like to know who's playing that solo. If that's James Eha or Billy. Yeah, man, 90s drumming and toms is a good time for tom grooves. Oh no, oh no. Okay, they're back on tom. Oh no, if you've ever been in a live situation and the crowd starts clapping, they always clap either off rhythm or out of time, and the crowd was roll off right there. That's actually hard to deal with. Like, if you're playing in front of a big crowd, that's really powerful, like a few thousand people clapping out of time. You have to really, like, not listen to this gigantic sound that's coming to you from the front of the stage to stay in time. All I ever wanted was everything. Okay, I think this is... Darcy. Hello, Darcy. We meet again. She helped usher me into puberty as a kid. I love those 90s riot girls. Okay, so I'm pretty sure this is a very long Billy Corgan rant. The video of this is from a longer video, and I will have that posted in the description. Also, for all those people who bitch about me talking so much, that's kind of my job in my channel, is to talk about what we're doing. This is how you should be doing this if you're trying to treat this channel as a resource. Watch my nonsense, then go watch the original video without my nonsense over top of it, and try to, check out the things that I pick out. So this video starts at 16 minutes in the video that I'm going to post. And right now we're going to skip Billy Corgan's big-ass Jim Morrison rant that I think is coming. Okay, so I just skipped about 3 minutes of Brother Billy ranting. It seems like he was flexing his Jim Morrison muscles here, so we just skipped all that. Let's start where the music comes back. Nothing. What's it all about? Nothing. That's why Gen Xers are ready for this shit. Our artists have been getting us ready to scream existential lamentations into the void since the 90s, baby. What is this all about? Nothing. Man, what would it be like to play in front of that many people? Yeah, yeah. This was the very first song on Gish. This is the very first song that you heard from Smashing Pumpkins. So that's everything we saw today was just good classic Jimmy Chamberlin. Lots of Tom-oriented things. One of the things he did best, songs on like, what is that? He was a great drummer that always accented Billy's voice. Like Billy would do these stabs and he was always right there. He was a master at that. I always thought that Smashing Pumpkins sounded like a commercial My Bloody Valentine. I wonder if Billy Corgan ever mentioned if he liked My Bloody Valentine. I always think that they sound like that. Jimmy does not sound like that drummer because he's way, way better. So, Jimmy Chamberlin, Gen Xers Unite. If you're not watching Jimmy Chamberlin and those first three Smashing Pumpkins records, Gish, Siamese Dream, Melancholy, and The Infinite Sadness. There it is. Again, Gen Xers, baby. We grew up on a record called Melancholy and The Infinite Sadness. Millennials are listening to SoundCloud rappers talk about eating Xanax. Who do you think is going to be more ready to deal with this shit? But anyway, those two records are phenomenal. I cannot recommend them enough. I kind of fell out from Smashing Pumpkins after Adore. And then when Jimmy was gone, you know how that goes. But Jimmy Chamberlin, he's an example of when you learn jazz music, and man, the basic jazz playing is so complex, and the coordination that it takes really makes transferring to rock and roll and heavy rock music, it makes it a lot easier. So if you all enjoyed all that, please give me a like, comment, and share. Give me a double tap subscription and the notification bell. Please check out my Patreon. Please check out my merch store, not my merch table. And everyone, seriously, please stay safe and stay kind to one another. And keep practicing until it's easy.